Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one.
Welcome back everybody. This is a picture of the Crown Mines, Cornish Tin Mines in Cornwall. I've stretched the paper. This is £140 Bockingford and I'm just leaving a thin film of water on the paper. And the colours we have for this: Naples yellow, light red, magenta, cobalt blue, French ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and orange. If you hear me sniffling, it's because I have a really bad cold. I'll take some Naples yellow and I want to put a two-stage sky into this. And I'm just chucking this on. I want to drop some into the rocks as well. I'll just take some of the orange. This will be the underwash for a backdrop of clouds that will be going on. I'll drop a little bit of orange into these, making it light. Cobalt blue, some Payne's grey. Get a deep colour. And then just a touch of the burnt umber. Remember, this will dry an awful lot lighter. It's just a question of getting this on. I'm going to bring it down over this background rocky piece. I want this to fade out really here. And I'm just going to blue that up once again with a bit more cobalt. Where the sea's coming in. You could even drop one or two patches in here, doesn't really matter. And then you could just drop some water in it and just let that push things round. And then you're going to let that dry. Now that's left you with a nice glowing sky and a backdrop. What we're going to do is just re-wet the sky once again. Once you've got it like that, some French ultramarine, touch of magenta, and into that some Payne's grey, some burnt umber, and a nice darker mix, a bit more magenta. And I'm just using a tip to drop paint in. I'm just going to allow this to have basically its own way, and I'm going to bring it in. Very little contact with the paint underneath. And I do want some of the underwash to show through. It just helps focus the eye towards the mine. I want to wash this down over the hill again. Just make your sky interesting. Take a little more burnt umber into that. Begin to create some darker patches. Not too many of them. If you feel you have a little bit of excess paint, kitchen towel, just allow that to soak that up around the edge, and you're going to let that dry. Now that your sky is nice and dry, I've just re-wet these background hills, bring it down over this one and this rock. I'm going to take some magenta and just pop it in there. And I want this to go on weak, just change that colour a little bit, and I want this to drop into the background. I've set the board at an angle and I'm just allowing this to run through. Peeling it off. And I do want to drop some orange in. It's in the sky. Maybe some around here as well. I don't want this to be strong. A little bit more of that. Strengthen it up in areas and just drop some stronger patches in. Nothing too deep. Because with the board set at an angle, it will run through. Maybe a little darker on this side. remove any excess water and let this sort of run down. Don't really worry about it. It's just a hint of the rocky hills at the back. And that's all I want to do to the hills in the back. Let that dry. Okay, your background hills are dry, and I've just re-wet the whole of these rocky areas, and I just want to strengthen some colour up in this. So I'm going to drop some Naples yellow in, and I also want to drop some orange in. Some of this will be subdued, in other words I'll glaze over it all, and a little light red. And I'm just dropping this really just in patches. Then just for a little bit of extra colour, take some magenta, very weak, pop this in. Remember, this is going to dry really light, then I'm going to let that dry. Now that that's dry, I've just re-wet this half of the tin mine, so I'm going to add some more magenta into this. And I want to make this very light on this side. It's just a glaze. And I want to pale this right down towards the bottom. Just a touch of Payne's grey. You'll hardly notice that. A bit lighter towards where it's facing the light. Just re-wet that and just drop some colour in really for that, nothing much really. I do want this quite thin. Just going to dry brush this over, just pull some hit and miss effects out, just darken in one or two areas, just to help parts of it stand out. Don't want too much detail over here, I'm going to wash this out. Then I'm just going to let that dry. Once that's dry, I want to come on this side with just a slightly deeper colour, just glazing over that. Just thin that out, just add a little bit of that to the magenta. Make this quite watery. And I just want to glaze over it. Just going to wet this hillside. Just bring it down over the rocks, this really, I just want to wipe it out really. And I'm going to let that dry. I'm just going to take some cobalt blue, some magenta, just to give it a slight violet colour, but still on the blue side, and some Payne's grey, because I want to deepen it. Taking a flat brush, I want to bring some waves into here. I'm using a corner of the flat brush and just dragging it back. Take some water and just fuzz some of the edges up. Just creating some rough water around the rocks. Bringing some across across here. Just create a little movement. Something out once again. Cobalt blue once again, magenta, paint grey, making this a little darker. Just while the paint is still damp, I'm just going to drop some darker areas in. Whether I want to go overboard with this, it's just a show movement. And I want to let that dry. I'm just taking some Magello Mission Gold white titanium paint and I'm just putting some crests on the top of these waves. I've done some already, but I'm just finishing this off. This is straight from the tube. This is where you get to sign it, put a mount around it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe. And until next time, thank you very much for watching.